Hi vlog, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining and checking in. I wanted to just say hello. How's everyone doing? And if you're watching, then I haven't been posting in a couple of weeks, so I've taken a little bit of an intentional break, and I wanted to kind of explain a little bit why. So mostly I've been really working on my internal health, and there's been a couple of things that I've been doing that have been working out really well for me, and now that I've got them kind of dialed in, I'm ready to get back into consistently vlogging and sharing little pieces of my life a little bit more now that I'm in a more settled routine. Yeah, thank you for watching my video today, and I hope that some of this information you might find useful. It's very specific to me, but who knows? Another random life update that is exciting and that I am looking forward to a lot is the fact that we're going to be moving soon-ish. We are going to be moving towards the end of August, early September, and we're moving back to my hometown and to the country. It's going to be a really big adjustment, and I'm really looking forward to it because we have been in apartments and city living for quite a while now, and I am ready to move, especially for Lorenzo to have room to roam and play, because this is not a big enough space. So especially for Lorenzo to have room to run and play, because right now we don't have a yard. We're going to be moving to my dad's property, which is lots of acres, and renting a house from him. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm also loving the fact that I kind of have a time frame of how much longer we're going to be here, when to aim for, and we're definitely getting movers this time, and that is happening for sure. But the best part about it is that we will have, more space. It's better suited for a younger little guy. And the greatest part is I'll be so close to family. So obviously we'll be right next to my dad and then my grandparents, and I'll even be closer to my parents a little bit too. So right now we're just kind of living on an island by ourselves over here. And my sister and my parents have done a great job of coming over and visiting me, but it's definitely a big effort to come over here. I feel like vlogging is going to be so much fun too, because there's going to be so many projects on the property to do. We want to do gardening. There's certain things that, different hobbies that I kind of want to get into now that we'll have the space. We're probably going to even invest in doing like a home gym there. So that's probably the thing I'm most excited about, is having maybe a workout space or like an office space there. You are so talking. Okay, yeah, he's really using his voice a lot too. But he has a lot to say apparently, so do I. So random transition to making tea, I know, but I really wanted to share this caffeine-free recipe with you that I discovered when I went to Smith Tea. It is their Meadow Foam Oat Latte. So you basically add 2 tea bags of their Meadow herbal tea, and this is like a chamomile based tea, but it is very, very good with milk added, so I highly recommend. You're gonna add some steaming water. This is about 6 ounces. I added an ounce more than they typically recommend on their website. Here I'm just using a scale so that I can actually measure the correct ounces, because I want it to turn out the same way that it does when I go and get it made there. Next I am substituting with the Oat Milk brand. I believe they actually use the Oatly brand milk. Then I steam that up, and then I add half an ounce of maple syrup. This has to be real maple syrup. And then for the milk, I did 5 ounces. Definitely give this one a try. Now we're gonna have a little sit down. And I have my Meadow Foam Oat Latte. Let's chat. All right, I could not film with Lorenzo hanging off of me super well. He was crying a lot. So I put him in there with a bunch of Tupperware. We'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, I wanted to do a little chat now that I have my tea and really talk to you about, you know, just reflecting back on everything and where I've been. So I have felt lost, you know, having a baby like most people do. I left my job, which was all consuming, and I put a lot of effort and energy into that. Became a mom, looked completely different for a while. And, you know, my husband went back to work full-time and overtime. So I was really isolated, and I had moved to a new town where I had nobody that can really be of a support and that lives close to us so that I could ask for help. You know, I've had my sister and my parents help, but not as much as I probably could have if I was closer to them. So yeah, there was a good period of time there where I felt like I just didn't know myself. I was frustrated. I had to accept the reality that my days were all consuming with a baby. I was exclusively pumping too, which I think made it a lot harder. Back, just wasn't happy, and I knew nothing was going to change unless I changed something. And so I've been kind of on the path of lots of changes, and it's been self-motivated, but I think having a child, I swear, makes you more motivated to, like, I need to get the things done that I've always wanted to do and that I've just put off, because you just don't have any more excuses. And that's a big reason why I got this camera as well, was because I really needed some creative outlet. I was like, I need something that makes me feel like complete, or, you know, something outside of my baby too, because I felt like I was fighting for the version of myself that I felt like I had lost. And that's okay. That's okay to feel that way too. It's not a shameful thing to not only want to focus completely on your baby. And I do focus on him lots. Like, he really is in my care 24/7 and rarely gets watched by other people. But that's why I picked up the camera and vlogged. I felt like I was like at rock bottom where I'm like, I need something. So that was a big piece of why I did that. That was a big piece of why I've been getting into doing my own nails and wanting to kind of delve into nail art and learning a new skill. Trying to have creative outlets, you know, with the footage that I'm taking, being more intentional and kind of recentering myself in my life too. So that was definitely a shift from, you know, just working lots and not really thinking about putting myself first. So that's what we're doing this year. That's what the shift in my life has been, and it has been the best thing, because if I wasn't put against, I guess, or in those circumstances, I never would have been like, you know what, it's time to adjust things. It's time to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. So another thing you'll probably notice is my face is a lot less red. I don't know if that's easy to see on camera, but it is significantly less inflamed. I feel like my face is also less inflamed. I have reached a point with my skin crying out for help where I just kind of gave up, and I was like, this is just the state of my face. You know, I'm flushing, I have type 2 rosacea bumps on my skin, and I've always combated issues with my skin for most of my life. After Accutane, it was pretty clear for quite a long time after a teenager. And then once I was an adult, I got to a point where I started getting these flare-ups, redness, and bumps again. And pretty much it's been that way since. I was using a steroid in the past, a topical steroid that's an anti-inflammatory that I would put on my skin, and it was like magic for me. It got rid of everything, and I stuck to that for years, since probably 2019. And it's kept my skin relatively perfect until I felt like it wasn't doing the same thing it did before, and I decided to stop. And little did I know, even though it was a non-steroid cream, that I would have such a rebound redness and flare up after that. It was months where I looked literally like a burn victim and missed work because of how bad my skin was. It was fully scabbed, fully flared. I had to come off of that medication. They do not warn you about that, and it's called Elidal, I guess that's the name, or Primecromulus is what it is. Stay far away from that if your dermatologist prescribes that for you, because I was basically concealing the root issue of what my skin was telling me. And for years and years I went on without that. Once I detoxed from that rebound redness, that was like earlier when I started dating Francisco, actually. And then I kind of just accepted, you know, like redness, bumps, dehydration. Okay, you know, this is my life. Until I was on TikTok and I saw someone talking about mast cell activation syndrome and a high histamine overload or intolerance. And a lot of those symptoms, I actually felt like, I was like, this is exactly what I have, but I didn't realize it was all different things relating to what I have experienced. And when I look back to when these symptoms kind of started more, it was maybe 4 months after I went vegan for the first time. That was the first time I went to the dermatologist and asked for help because my skin was flaring up, but I didn't connect the two at the time. I don't know how I didn't connect the two. I just thought, you know, this is what my skin is doing right now. And so, okay, so now here we are. I'm finding some information on TikTok. I am seeing that I may be eating like an insane amount of high histamine food, because that is personally my favorite types of food. And especially on a vegan diet, I was going crazy on high histamine foods, which I didn't realize was even a thing. I was like, what the heck is a high histamine anyway? It's basically the amount of fermentation that a food accrues as it ages. So I am like a lover of Asian fusion, you know, Korean food, everything fermented bean paste, fermented soy sauce, fermented kimchi, sauerkraut. I used canned beans, which technically is high in histamine as well. And tofu and soy products are high in histamine. A lot of things are high in histamine, but I will say that the majority of what I was eating was the high histamine products that I was consuming on a daily. Another one is bananas and avocados, and those are my two favorite things that I eat all the time. So it was super interesting to learn that and look at my intake of high histamine foods and how much I was just overloading, especially when I became vegan, because I was literally only consuming those things. I mean, other than rice and potatoes, which are great anti-inflammatory. You want to come over? Now reflecting on when I started getting those symptoms and how long I've actually been having them, I thought a miracle cream or a product would solve my problems. It never did. My skin never accepted any products other than Vaseline. So I have been using Vaseline only on my skin for years now, which now I have very dehydrated skin and more irritation from that. But any cream I would put on my face, regardless of what brand, the ingredients, it would burn, it would cause redness and bumps. So I'm like, you know, we're just stuck in this chronic state of nothing. Okay, so now I hear about low histamine diet, and I hear about these syndromes and these, you know, things that people experience that have these. Obviously, super red flushing skin, super sensitive to the elements, like going outside in the cold, red. Heat, my face is beet red. When I am working out, my face is beet red. Sauna, beet red. Super highly reactive to touch even. I could scratch my skin and there would be a line there, you know, for a while. Itching. If I go out walking in the cold, my legs itch like they're on fire. If I use a massage gun on my legs, they itch, they drive me crazy. If I'm in a hot tub and I'm sitting on the jets, they itch really bad. you know, it's a lot of itching and random hives that I would get on my body, being sensitive to allergies as well, feeling like my nose was stuffed. What else? Spicy foods like would make my face flare up, heat with hot foods like soups. I would get really bad stomach aches with certain foods that I just was like, oh, my stomach doesn't like that. Super high histamine food, like eggplants, for example. So I literally felt like I was like, aha, oh my God, like, what do I do with this information? If this is what I have, like, basically you have a bucket of histamine that your body is able to drain out and process. However, if you fill that bucket way too high, your body has an overwhelming amount of histamine, and it starts getting less effective with draining it. That's kind of what I've learned. And so, and I learned a lot of autoimmune disorders are caused by high histamines in food as well. And diet, it could be relating to the gut as well. So obviously I haven't been to a physician like an immunologist, which I could do in the future if this path doesn't work for me, but I'm seeing results. So I'm going to stick with this on my own, and then obviously if it doesn't work long term, then I will be going to see an immunologist after this. But it just made so much sense to me, and so I was like, okay, what do I have to lose? You know, I've always heard like, you know, clean up your diet, but I had never had stomach issues really with many foods, so I didn't think it was relating to diet. I just completely was out of the question. But that still doesn't mean that your stomach or that foods aren't causing triggers that can accumulate in histamine later on, you know, even a week later or a couple of days after you've eaten something. So that really was a surprise to me too. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. Let's try this low histamine diet. Let me tell you, you basically will eat nothing. I am basically eating rice, quinoa, potatoes, chicken, beef, green apples, and a ton of vegetables. So it's inherently very, very healthy. Oh, and oats and lots of blueberries too. So I'm kind of just cycling between this, and I have done it for over a week now. I've only been doing this for like a week and some days, and I cannot believe the results that I've seen. Like, I haven't seen my face this non-red in probably years, and it is so soft. So I'm like, my barrier is repairing because the internal inflammation is going down finally to give my skin a break. And this is telling me that my body needs this very badly. So me taking out everything, even coffee, you guys, my love of caffeine, spikes your histamine because it spikes your cortisol, and a lot of it is related to stress and nervous system regulation as well. So something I've been avoiding, obviously, and I never wanted to eat this way specifically because I was vegetarian vegan for so long, and this is primarily meat-based. And I've been trying to get in a lot of protein because I train. Lorenzo did not want to be held, apparently. I thought he wanted to be held, but he did not want to be. Okay, so now I'm like, you know, I'm knee deep in this rabbit hole, which I don't know if any of you care about, but if you have autoimmune issues and you don't think that your issue is diet related, I don't know, but it probably is. It might not be, but it probably is, even if you don't think that you have the signs. So let this be your sign to, if you have not tried it, maybe look in to see what a low inflammatory diet looks like for you. For me, obviously it's been a low histamine diet, taking out all those fermented foods, cooking only fresh things, doing a lot from frozen, and I'm going to have to, you know, eat this way for about a month or so for my body to heal, regulate itself, calm down the internal fire, and then I will proactively introduce things again back into my diet. Wait even for like 3 days just to see if there's a flare up. And then I will be able to see what is the cause of this. Maybe it's a specific food trigger, or maybe my intake of high histamine foods was just far too high and I just need to lower the bucket, like be more mindful of okay, well, how much of these things am I consuming so that my body can actually process them? Because I am a sensitive individual, apparently. Researching vitamins that I can take that are natural, that can support my body if I have any nutritional deficiencies, obviously, but natural immunity. So I will show you some vitamins that I've been taking. It's a lot, but if you want some advice, if you're going through this, I feel like this video would help me if I saw me. So I got a enzymed women's one-day multi. It's from the brand Emerald. I found that this is a really clean company when it comes to not adding anything that is super plant focused, because what I was using before had a lot of different berries, superfoods in there, and a lot of these things again can be triggers if these foods are high histamine, and a lot of them were. So I was like, okay, we need to get a new daily vitamin that is basically just coenzymated, like it's literally just exactly those vitamins. Like I don't want anything else in there. Get rid of it. Vitamin D3. This one I guess is a helpful one. Quercetin, which is a plant extract, and this is again the same brand, and apparently it's supposed to do what like Zyrtec does or Pepcid does for the body, which is a H1 or H2 blocker. So it basically just kind of helps your body to, I think, not react to allergens, which a lot of what I'm saying is related to like body reacting to allergies. Vitamin C, I'm taking higher amounts of the quercetin and vitamin C because it needs to be like a therapeutic amount to help support somebody who has like what I have. So this, I mean, maybe it's helping. Obviously the diet's most important, but this kind of helps support your body with histamine breakdown and processing. Melatonin, which helps to regulate histamines, I guess, and then also de-stress. Magnesium as well. And then this is something random and new. This is a DAO enzyme. This is an enzyme your body actually naturally produces to break down histamine. Obviously, if my body is having trouble processing histamine, this kind of just gives me a little bit of an extra boost. If I have a food that is, you know, more high histamine, or I'm testing those waters out. So I'm saving these ones actually for when I start introducing new foods, like to put training wheels basically on when I'm trying these new foods, and then I'll slowly take this out just to get used to it. And then a probiotic as well. I don't really entirely know why it's relating to mood or cognitive support, but when I was doing some research online, typically people who have mast cell activation syndrome, gut dysbiosis, or like high histamine will typically take this strain and avoid certain strains that could make your stomach issues worse. Obviously, it's better to go to a physician and be able to test your gut bacteria and see what you need, but I am using these. These would not show any sign of my skin getting better by now. This would take a lot longer, but I just want to, you know, make sure to help my gut bacteria if that is a variable or an issue whatsoever. So in the short period of time of taking these new vitamins, eating so clean that I'm sick of eating the same foods, honestly, already. It's only been a week. Very healthy, but yeah, I have seen a day and night of my skin. So we're going to keep with this protocol, and when I start introducing foods back in, I mean, it's going to be pretty boring for a while. Probably be like eggs and Greek yogurt will be the first thing to come back. Coffee will probably come back caffeine free, I'm assuming, unless it is the reason for my issues. Wouldn't that be funny? But yeah, stay tuned on this health journey and putting ourselves and our health first, and, you know, taking care of what needs to get taken care of, and finally addressing what we don't want to, finding answers. So yes, I am very excited for this. This is like huge, and this is why I needed some time to focus my energy on, like, okay, like, what do I need to do? What rabbit hole do I need to climb down next? What supplements do I need? What foods are okay and what are not? What liberate histamine? What has a lot of histamine? You know, all of this knowledge that I've been like just absorbing a ton of and trying to still stay on top of, you know, taking care of Lorenzo and completely stick with my fitness routine, with my protein intake, with my gym schedule and routine, and trying to stick to like a body recomp sort of situation with that, and trying to keep all of these moving pieces together. And now that I feel like I'm kind of set in a routine and I know what my body needs and I'm seeing the results, I'm like, okay, now we're ready to go. Now we're ready to focus on more important things and use my mind somewhere else, and other than just diet. But it just needed a moment to be really hyper focused on, and now I'm ready to come back and I don't want to think about it so much anymore. So I hope this helped you, and I hope that you found this inspiring, you know, taking advantage of bettering yourself and your health and whatever that looks like, and becoming the best version of yourself, and how you want things to change, and not giving up, and not just listening to, you know, rosacea is a lifelong condition that can't be cured. Well, I feel like it can be maintained a lot better, and if you have that mindset, you're never gonna try and figure out what your body needs. So with that, thank you for my rant. I hope this wasn't super boring, but we'll get back to regular life here soon. All right, now that Dad's almost home, I am going to be heading out to the gym, but I just wanted to do that simple check-in, and I know that was information overload, so I will leave it at that for today, but you will be seeing more of us. Thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you guys soon.